There we go. Hello everyone, shalom. Welcome back. We're back to church again. Um, so everything's good now. And we are doing church once again. So we left off at the end of the book of Exodus. Which means we finished the book of Exodus. But now we're in the book of Exodus. So you see, what happened last time, Joseph died, and the old Pharaoh died as well, and his brothers died. Everybody died. It was a lot of years passed, and then one Pharaoh, and brand new Pharaoh came in, but a very evil Pharaoh. He was scared of the Israelites, that they were multiplying, and that they would try to take over the kingdom. So now here, this is where slavery began. But the problem is, he's throwing the firstborn baby boys in the river to be eaten or killed by alligators and crocodiles. So while they're still in slavery, but a new hero rises. So we are opening into the book of Exodus. So Jacob came in with this household, which was Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and then you had the descendants of Jacob, and then like the descendants of every brother. We had descendants of Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. So that's how Israel, the Israelites grew. They multiply and they multiply and multiply. So the first chapter of Exodus talks about that. So we are in Exodus 2, chapter 2. So grab your Bibles and let us start. Exodus 2. A man from the family of Levi took a woman, also descendant from Levi, as his wife. And when she had a son, upon seeing what a fine child he was, she hid him for 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took a papyrus basket, coated it with clay and tar, and put the child in it, and placed it among the reeds of the riverbank. His sister stood a distance to see what would happen to him. And then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe in the river, while her maids and attendants walked along the riverside, spotting the basket among the reeds. She sent her slave to get it. She opened it and looked inside, and in front of her was a crying baby boy. Moved with pity, she said that it would be one of the Hebrew children. And at this point, his sister said to the Pharaoh's daughter, Would you like me to go and find you one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you? Pharaoh's daughter answered, Yes, go. So the girl went, called the baby's own mother. Her own mother. Pharaoh's daughter told her to take the child away and nurse it for me. I will pay you for doing it. So the woman took the child and nursed it. Then when the child had grown, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and she began to raise him as her son. She called him Moshe, which is Moses, which stands for pull out, explaining, because I pulled him out of the water. And one day, once Moses was a grown man, he went out to visit his kinsmen, and he watched them struggling at forced labor. He saw an Egyptian strike a Hebrew, one of his kinsmen. He looked this way and that, and when he saw no one was around, he went to the Egyptian and killed him, and hid his body in the sand. The next day he went out and saw two Hebrew men fighting with each other. To the one in the wrong, he said, "Why are you hitting your companion?" And he retorted, "Who appointed you ruler and judge over us? Do you intend to kill me the way you killed the Egyptian?" And Moses became frightened. Clearly he thought the matter had become known. And when Pharaoh heard of it, he tried to have Moses put to death. But Moses fled from Pharaoh to live in the land of Midian. And one day, as he was sitting by a well, the 7 daughters of the priest of Midian came to draw water. They had filled the troughs to water their father's sheep. And when the shepherds came and tried to drive them away, but Moses got up and defended them, he watered their sheep. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, "How come you're back so soon?" And they answered that an Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds, and more than that, he drew water for us and watered the sheep. He asked his daughters, "Where is he? Why do you leave the man there and invite him to have something to eat?" Moses was glad to stay with the man. He gave Moses his daughter, Zipporah, in marriage. They gave birth to a son and named him Gershom, which stands for a foreigner there. For he said, "I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." Sometime during those many years, the king of Egypt died. But the people of Israel still groaned under the yoke of slavery, and they cried out. And their cry for rescue from slavery came up to God. God heard their groaning. God remembered his covenant with Abraham, his covenant with Isaac, and his covenant with Jacob. God saw the people of Israel, and God acknowledged them. In just that one chapter, so much stuff happened. So, Moses became a prince of Egypt, basically. And the sister was watching her while Moses was going down the river. Then Pharaoh's daughter found him. And then Moses' sister told me, which was Miriam, that she was going to find someone to take care of him. She agreed. Then Moses' mom came, and once he grew, he went back with the Pharaoh's daughter. And then she raised him as a son. And then he killed an Egyptian. He ran away. He lives in Midian. And he's married. Perfectly normal stuff. And Moses was tending the sheep of Jethro, which was his father-in-law, and also the priest of Midian, leading the flock to the far side of the desert. He came to the mountain of God, to Horeb. An angel of Adonai appeared to him in a fire blazing a fire blazing from the middle of a bush. He looked and saw, and although the bush was flaming with fire, the bush was not being burned up. Moses said, "I'm going to go over and see this amazing sight, find out why the bush isn't being burned up." When Adonai saw that he had gone over to see, God called to him from the middle of the bush, "Moses, Moses." And Moses answered, saying, "Here I am." He said, "Don't come any closer. Take your sandals off your feet, because the place where you are standing is holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." Moses covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Adonai said, "I've seen how my people are being oppressed in Egypt and heard their cry for release from their slave masters, because I know their pain. I've come down to rescue them from the Egyptians and bring them up out of that country to a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the place of the Canaan, Hittite, Amorite, Perizzite, Hivi, and Yebusi. The cry of the people of Israel has come to me. I have seen how terribly the Egyptians oppress them. Therefore now come, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you can lead my people, the descendants of Israel, out of Egypt." Moses said to God, "That who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, lead the people out of Israel out of Egypt?" He replied that I will surely be with you. Your sign that I have sent you will be that when you have led the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on the mountain. And Moses said to God, Look, when I appear before the people of Israel and say to them, The God of your ancestor has sent me to you, and they ask me, What is his name? What am I to tell them? And God said to Moses, I am will be what I am, or will be, or I am who I am. And added, Here's what to say to the people of Israel. I am, or I will be, has sent me to you. God said further to Moses, Say this to the people of Israel. Adonai, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. This is how I am to be remembered, generation after generation. So go and gather the leaders of Israel together, and say to them, Adonai, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to me and said, I have been paying close attention to you, and have seen what is being done to you in Egypt. I have said, I will lead you up out of the misery of Egypt to the land of Canaan, to a land flowing with milk and honey. They will heed what you say. Then you will come, you and the leaders of Israel, before the king of Egypt, and you will tell him, Adonai, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Now please let us go 3 days' journey in the desert, so that we can sacrifice Adonai our God. I know that the king of Egypt will not let you leave unless he is forced to do so. But I will reach out my hand and strike Egypt with all of my wonders I will do there, and after that he will let you go. Moreover, I will make the Egyptians so well disposed toward this people that when you go, you won't go empty-handed. Rather, all the women will ask their neighbors and house guests for silver and gold jewelry and clothing, with which you will dress your own sons and daughters, and in this way you will plunder the Egyptians. But Moses replied, I am certain that they won't believe me, and they won't listen to what I say, because they'll say, Adonai did not appear to you. Adonai said to him, What is that in your hand? And he said, A staff. God said to throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground. It turned into a snake. Moses recoiled from it. Then God said to Moses, Put your hand out and take it by the tail. He reached out with his hand, took hold of it, and just like that, in an instant, became a staff in his hand again. This is so that they will believe that Adonai, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to you. Furthermore, Adonai said to him, To now put your hand inside your coat. Then God said, Put your hand. He put his hand in his coat. When he took it out, his hand was leprous, as white as snow. Then God said to Moses to put his hand inside the coat again. He put his hand back in his coat. When he took it out, it was as healthy as the rest of his body. If they won't believe you or heed the evidence of the first sign, they will be convinced by the second. But if they aren't persuaded even by both the signs and still don't listen to what you say, then take some water from the river and pour it on the ground. The water you take from the river will turn into blood on dry land. Hello, Mills. Welcome to church. Then Moses said to God, I am a terrible speaker, and I always have been, and I'm still no better now. And even after you've spoken to your servant, my words come slowly, my tongue moves slowly. But God answered him, Who gives a person a mouth? Who makes a person dumb or deaf, keen-sighted or blind? Isn't it I, Adonai? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth, and will teach you what to say. Alright. But he replied, Lord, send someone else, anyone you want. At this, God's anger blazed up against Moses. He said, Don't you have a brother, Aaron, the Levi. I know that he's a good speaker. In fact, here he is now, coming out to meet you, and he'll be happy to see you. You'll speak to him, put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth, and his teachings, and teaching you both what to do. Thus, he will be your spokesman to the people. In effect, for you, he'll be a mouth for you and for him. You will be like God. Now take the staff in your hand, because you need it to perform the signs. Moses left, returned to Yitro, his father-in-law, and said to him, I beg you to let me go and return to my kinsmen in Egypt to see if they are still alive. Yitro said to Moses, Go in peace. God said to Moses in Midian, Go on back to Egypt, because all the men who wanted to kill you are now dead. So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and started out for Egypt. Moses took God's staff in his hand. God said to Moses, When you get back to Egypt, make sure that you do before Pharaoh every one of the wonders that I've enabled you to do. Nevertheless, I'm going to make him hard-hearted, so that he will refuse to let the people go. Then you are to tell Pharaoh that God says, Israel is my firstborn son. I have told you to let my son go in order to worship me, but you have refused to let him go. Well then, I will kill your firstborn son. At a lodging place on the way, Adonai met Moses, and would have killed him had not Zipporah taken a flintstone, cut off the foreskin of her son. She threw it at his feet, saying, What a bloody bridge room you are for me. But then God let Moses be. She added, A bloody bridge room, because of the circumstances. God said to Aaron, Go into the desert to meet Moses. He went, met him at the mountain of God, and kissed him. Moses told him everything God had said in sending him, including all signs he ordered him to perform. Then Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the leaders of the people of Israel. And Aaron said everything that God had told Moses, who then performed the signs for the people to see. People believed. And when they heard that God had remembered the people of Israel, seeing they were oppressed, they bowed their heads and worshipped. Right now, this is where the story is getting better. But it's not over yet. We still are going to read one more chapter. After that, Moses and Aaron came and said to Pharaoh, Here is what Adonai, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go, so that they can celebrate a festival in the desert to honor me. The Pharaoh replied, Who is Adonai that I should obey when he says to let Israel go? I don't know this God, and I won't let Israel go. They said, The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Let us go 3 days' journey into the desert, so we can sacrifice to Adonai our God. Otherwise, he may strike us with a plague or with the sword. King of Egypt answered them, Moses and Aaron, what do you mean by taking the people away from their work? Get back to your labor. Look, Pharaoh added, population in the land has grown, yet you are trying to have them stop working? The same day, Pharaoh ordered the slave masters as the people's foremen, Welcome back. You are no longer to provide straw for the bricks the people are making, as you did before. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. You will require them to produce the same quantity of bricks as before. Don't reduce it, because they're lazing around. This is why they're crying. Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Give these people harder work to do. That will keep them too busy to pay attention to speeches full of lies. The people's slave masters went out, their foremen too, said to the people, Here's what Pharaoh says. I will no longer give you straw. You go yourselves and get straw wherever you can find it, but output not to be reduced. So the people were dispersed throughout the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. Slave masters kept pressing them to keep working, make your daily quota, just as when straw was provided, the foremen of the people of Israel, whom Pharaoh's slave master had appointed to be over them, were flogged and asked, "Why haven't you fulfilled your quota of bricks yesterday as today as you did formerly?" Then the foremen of the people of Israel came and started complaining to Pharaoh, "Why are you treating your servants this way? No straw is given to your servants, yet fault lies with your own people." "Lazy," he retorted. "You're just lazy. That's why you say, 'Let us go and sacrifice to Adonai.' Get going, get back to work. No straw will be given to you. You will still deliver the full amount of bricks." And when they said you are not to reduce your daily production quota of bricks, the foremen of the people of Israel could see that they were in deep trouble. As they were leaving Pharaoh, they encountered Moses and Aaron standing by the road. They said to them, "May God look at you and judge according, because you have made us utterly a burden in the view of Pharaoh and his servants, and you have put a sword in their hands to kill us." Moses returned to God and said, "God, why have you treated the people so terribly? What has been the value of sending me? For ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has dealt terribly with this people, and you haven't rescued your people at all." Adonai said to Moshe, "Now you will see what I'm going to do to Pharaoh with a mighty hand. He will send them off. With force he will be driven off the land." Plague after plague. Now, we are going to finish everything for next week, but as we always do, if you see the title of faith, so we have to start at the beginning. What does it all mean? How to have faith like Moses did. So, I like it like this better when I do church. So we gotta go like this. In Exodus 2, we see the birth of Moses, a baby born under Pharaoh's deadly decree. His mother hides him for 3 months, but when she can no longer keep him safe, she places him in a basket and sets him afloat on the Nile River. And this act is a remarkable display of faith, because Moses' mother lets go, not in despair, but in trust, because she could not protect her son anymore, but she believed that God could. Her faith was rewarded when Pharaoh's daughter found the baby, decided to raise him as her own. And this moment teaches us that faith sometimes means surrendering control, because Moses' mother did everything she could and entrusted the rest to God. Real faith often begins where our own power ends. Letting go is not giving up. It is giving over to a God who sees the bigger picture. Moving on to Exodus 2, verse 11-25, that Moses started growing up. He begins to identify more with his Hebrew heritage than with his Egyptian upbringing. One day, he sees an Egyptian being a Hebrew slave. In a burst of anger and injustice, he kills the Egyptian. When his actions are discovered, Moses flees to Midian, becoming a fugitive. But in Midian, Moses builds a quiet life. He marries, becomes a shepherd, and seems to be forgotten. But God is not finished with him. While Moses is in the wilderness, the Israelites continue to suffer in Egypt, and God hears their cries. And this chapter reveals that faith sometimes grows in the wilderness, because Moses' exile is not a punishment, it's preparation. And God uses seasons of loneliness, silence, and obscurity to shape our character, prepare us for our purpose, like Moses. We often feel abandoned, sidelined, but in reality, God is forming us behind the scenes. Then in Exodus 3, Moses encounters God at one of the most famous moments in Scripture, the burning bush. God calls Moses by name and reveals his plan to rescue the Israelites, with Moses as his chosen leader. Moses, however, is overwhelmed. He feels unworthy and unqualified, and he questions God that who am I that I should go? God's response is not a list of Moses' qualifications, but a simple promise: I will be with you. Here we learn that faith is not confidence in ourselves, but trust in God's presence. God does not need perfect people, because he calls those who are willing. Moses is full of doubt, but God is full of purpose. And when we feel small and worthy or scared, God says the same to us. I will be with you. And that is the foundation of biblical faith. Then in Exodus 4, Moses continues to resist God's call, but he gives multiple excuses. They won't believe me. I'm not a good speaker. Send someone else. Instead of punishing him, God responds with patience. He gives Moses signs to show his power and appoints Moses' brother Aaron as a helper. Moses' hesitation shows that faith is a journey and not a one-time decision. Even heroes of the Bible had doubts, and God worked with them anyways. Because God's patient when Moses teaches us that he understood fears. But what matters is not how confident we feel, but whether we're willing to take the next step in obedience. True faith doesn't always look bold, sometimes looks like taking a shaky step forward while still feeling scared. And that's okay, because God walks with us anyway. And from Exodus 1 to 5, we see that faith is not about perfection, power, constant, but faith is about trusting God in the silence, surrendering control, obeying through fear, and continuing to believe even when things get harder. And Moses' story encourages us that God uses ordinary people to do the extraordinary things, not because they are strong, but because He is. But faith means saying yes to God even when we don't have all the answers. It means believing that His plan is better than ours and that He is with us every step of the way. And through Moses, we learn that faith is a journey, starts in fear, grows through obedience, and is strengthened by God's presence. That's faith. Next week, we will continue the book of Moses. We are going to go through the plagues. And
Alright.
we are going to start worship next week before church. So we're going to start getting in some songs and stuff. So we're going to do the dismissal prayer, pray for everybody, and yeah. Hold on, we're going to do the prayer and then we can talk out in the diner. Alright. If everyone can stand. And you get up too. Alright. We are going to do this prayer as we usually always do. Well, we do always do this one. It is our obligation to praise the Master of all, to ascribe greatness to the Creator of the world. For in the beginning that He has not made us like the nations of the land, and has not positioned us like the families of the earth, that He has not assigned our portion like theirs, nor our lot like that of all their multitudes. For they prostrate themselves to vanity and nothingness, and pray to a God that cannot deliver. But we bow and prostrate ourselves, and offer thanks before the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy One. Blessed is He who spreads the heavens and establishes the earth, and the seat of glory is in heaven above, and the abode of His invisible might is in the loftiest heights. He is our God, and there is nothing else. Our King is true, and all else is insignificant. As it is written in His Torah, and you shall know to this day, and take in your heart that Adonai is God in the heavens above, and upon the earth below. There is nothing else. And that's where we get our saying, Ushemo Echad. That on that day the Lord will be one, and His name will be one. Yevrech Adonai mamishmalecha, yever Adonai panabelecha vihunecha, Yisam Adonai panabelecha, Yisam Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord make His countenance to shine upon you and give you peace. Shalom, everybody. Next week we will continue the book of Exodus. We will have worships, so we'll get some songs. I should try to find a working guitar for songs. Alright, yes, you can talk now.
About time.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm. What's up?
Why do you join in the?
What?
Why has it been so long since we've like actually talked to each other?
I don't know.
It's just weird because like I play Rec Room like every day, and then
Dude, it's because I stopped playing Rec Room. I started going into Gorilla Tag all of a sudden.
I don't play Rec Room anymore, bro.
I don't know.
Well, after you finish stuff, do you wanna just hang out?
Sure. Hold on,
Yay!
I have one song here we can do.
Can I tell you something really quickly? So, bro, my friend just joined in the middle of it. In my mind, I was like, what the heck? Why did he join? I was like, how did he join?
Because Jesus is king.
Yes.
Before you were
And
playing
also, I joined because I'm the pastor. I stopped playing as well because I got braces. And, bruh, I had a very bad lisp. So, that's why I stopped doing church for a couple of weeks. But
Alexa, stop!
Now that I'm good, I can do it again.
Hey, bro, I'll be right back. I'm gonna join back. I'm gonna go on my VR.
Alright.
Okay.
We have one song that I'm gonna do. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. I'm Israel, I'm Israel, I'm Israel, hi. I'm Israel, I'm Israel, I'm Israel, hi. Nation of the nation of the nation of Israel lives. I'm Israel, I'm Israel, I'm Israel, hi. Oh, Davinu, hi. Oh, Davinu, hi. Oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, hi. Our Father still lives, yeah, our Father still lives. Our Father still lives. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat. Shalom. We're gonna get music soon. We'll have music in the background. And then everything will sound better.
I'll be back. I'm just waiting for my brother to get off the VR so I can get on the VR. I'm just waiting for it. Just wait a second.
Alright, everybody.
Brother, it's my turn on the VR.